Welcome, guys. This is Melody FS Academy, and I welcome you guys to our uh, market review, end of day market review. Okay, so this is us doing the breakdown of the trade that we took today, which we did live commentary on it in our Telegram channel. Okay, so if this is your first time of coming across this channel, please do well to subscribe, and if you find this video helpful, also please share it. Okay, so on a day-to-day basis, we are always going to be hosting live commentary in our Telegram group. I've already posted the link on our community tab here in the YouTube. Okay, so you can check it out and join. So all this trade, the trade I took today, we are all highlighted live in our Telegram group. Okay, so if you want to be part of that or part of our daily trading live commentary, do well to join our Telegram channel. Okay, so now before I dive into the breakdown of today's trade, I would like to point a few things out in the dollar index. Okay, I would like to point some few things out in the dollar index, because that is the genesis of everything, right? That's the genesis of everything. So if you have watched our previous video, which I apologized for the quality of the video was very poor, and I apologize sincerely. Okay, I promise it's not going to repeat itself. Okay, we are going to be working on better qualities. I didn't know what went wrong that make the video to turn out to be very poor. But if you have gone through that video, you understand that I talked about on the weekly from the weekly time frame when we did our top down analysis. I shared my concerns on the dollar index that it is likely going to be bullish. Okay, I said it might likely going to be bullish if if the market opens up on Sunday and there's a gap upwards above this inverted fair value gap. Okay, I said if for Sunday's opening price gaps up above if inverted fair value gap, then this is going to be my drawn liquidity on dollar, right? But if there's a gap down on the DSY, that means the likelihood of dollar resuming its bearish momentum is going to be considered. So I said everything we're going to be trading, the buyers we are going to be going with, will all be determined by the DSY opening price on Sunday, right? So now if you come down to the hourly time frame right here, coming down to the hourly time frame, you can see that we did have a gap down. Okay, so as soon as we got this, I was like, okay, that sets the tone for a bearish momentum. Okay, so I had my drawn liquidity highlighted and all that, right? So that's just it. Though we are not trading the dollar index, we are only looking at it for institutional order flow confluence, or institutional order flow confluence confirmation and all that, right? So I caught all this live. We did a live commentary in our Telegram channel, like I said. So if you want to join us on a day-to-day basis, we'll be doing a live commentary and at the same time sharing. Then at the end of the day, there's going to be an episode of this market review, end of the market review, right? So that's how I'm going to be doing it. So the first trade we took today was on GBP USD, right? So let's look at GU before we come back with EU. Okay, so we took our first long setup in GU, right? So let's just hold on, it's still loading up. So so you can see the movements. Okay, you can see the momentum. I mentioned earlier that if price was going to be bullish, it's going to take lots of momentum to get price up there, right? To get price to trade back above this. Okay, I think that was in euro USD, right? think that was in Euro USD. But it's a similar situation here. It's a similar case here. You can see that here we had price trading above this previous short-term high. The network is kind of slow. Sorry, I apologize for that. Um, we had price trade above this high here, and before we got, you know, a retracement down, right? So price taking out the liquidity there made this to be a kind of high resistance liquidity run. So that was a high resistance liquidity run. And so, and I mentioned that it's going to take a lot and lot of momentum to get price to trade above this high. You get. So now we had this from this inverted fair value gap from last week, right? Then we traded below it on Friday, closed below it, and we traded below this side liquidity here. Okay, now since we had a gap down in dollar index, I believe the foreign assets were going to be bullish, so I had to switch buyers, right? I had to switch buyers. And notice after the gap down, so we had this drop down, we have this drop, this decline into that side liquidity, right? Then notice we have this displacement to the upside. So we have displacement to the upside, and this was where market opened up today, which is here. So I was looking at this point of interest. Okay, I was interested in this point of interest. So we have the 1 hour fair value gap right here, and we're also going to go to the lower time frame. So if you bring your fib from the anchor from low to high, you can see that price did in fact dropped below 50%, which is into a discount market, right? So the confluence are pretty much right. So now let's go down to the 15 minutes time frame and see what we did there, right? So now, so remember, it's always time and price theory, right? Time and price. So now, prior to all this decline, uh we called all this live even before it happened in the Telegram channel. Okay, you can go to the Telegram channel to confirm what I'm saying. So we called all this before it happened. We called the move live and executed live in our Telegram channel. So now we had this five value gap inside. We have this 15-minute fair value gap inside of that this 1 hour fair value gap. Now as soon as we dropped into it, all I did was to go down to my 1 minute time frame and look for an entry. So I posted a poll earlier in the Telegram group on the type of entry. So if you are the kind of person that's struggling with entry and all that, you need help with it, kindly join our Telegram group and provide it's more like a survey. Okay, provide your answer to the survey that we posted in the group, and definitely going to help you find a entry model that fits your trading model, right? So now we dropped into the 1 hour fair value gap and into the 15-minute fair value gap as well. So I had to wait for a market structure shift, and you can see we had a market structure shift here. So we have a low, we have a high, lower low, and a higher high. So that right there is a market structure shift, and I entered based on this inverted fair value gap right there. So that was what I used as my entry. So I use this inverted fair value gap, as you can see, even though we also have this fair value gap, but I was more interested in this. So I entered right there, and my stop, obviously this is just the entry. You can see here, this is just the entry, and I also posted it in the Telegram, in our YouTube community. I posted the result right there. So drop there and I entered right there. So this was my first TP, which was the buy side liquidity residing there, and targeted the discount low of that fair value gap. You can see it was just a 6 to 27 risk reward ratio, and it is nothing compared to the move. Okay, compared to the move that unfolded later on, you can see this is massive, right? I don't really have the psychology to hold on to this kind of trades, like a scalper, intraday scalper, you get. So I'm more interested in risk reward. Okay, I'm more interested in risk reward per trade. I'm more interested in risk reward ratios. Sorry, I'm more interested in risk reward ratios. Okay, so this for me is It's going to take a lot of psychology, a lot of mental energy to hold on to this. So I just had to focus on the minimum of 5 RR per trade. That's how I trade. I only take positions that gives me 5 RR, 5 risk to reward ratio per trade. Okay, so this was the first trade. You can see is during London Q zone. Okay, now our second trade for the day was in Euro USD, similar to this first one, right? Similar to the first one, and we did a live commentary. I called it live, the execution and everything, right in our Telegram channel, so you can go there and confirm for yourself. You can join the Telegram group and confirm for yourself. Like I said, we haven't kickstart our official lectures series yet. Okay, so yeah, we are more like we are more focused on that. Since we just came back from the break, we focus primarily on market reviews and previews, okay, analysis and all that. So that's just our primary focus for the main time. Okay, so now since we already had a massive expansion to the upside in in London session, I was like, okay, we aren't going to do much in the New York session. So notice this fair value gap right here. Okay, so we traded above it, became an inverted fair value gap. So my interest was just within this fair value gap. I saw this and I saw this fair value gap that was sitting slightly above this inverted fair value gap. Okay, so I was like, okay, let's just see what happens when price trades back down into this. So I call this at live if as it was happening, even before it happened, right? Even before we traded down to the point of interest, it was all commented live in our in our Telegram channel, right? You can see, so from this low to this high, you can see we are clearly in the discount market below it. Okay, so now as soon as price traded into the fair value gap here, I went to my 1 minute time frame as well, right? And to look for my entry. I went down to my 1 minute time frame to look for my entry. Okay, so let's see. Right, so I went down to my 1 minute time frame to look for my entry. So you can see price traded down into the 15-minute fair value gap right here. So we had this inverted fair value gap. So this was my supposed entry. I was actually going to enter right here on this inverted fair value gap, but didn't give me an opportunity. So before we had a market structure shift. Okay, so this is a market structure shift, and as soon as price dropped down into this other block right there, okay, right there, and a fair value gap, there's also a fair value gap here, and you can see there's also a tiny inverted fair value gap here. So my attention was on this inverted fair value gap, okay, and this last down close candle, which is also another block. So that was where I entered right there. You can see, so this was just how I entered it, and stop loss was down here obviously. So what I did was to aim for a 5 RR. Like I said, I don't really have the mental energy to hold on to trades for long, so I'm more like a scalper, right? So I just focus on building my model around a minimum of 5 to 1 RR, right? So you can see it was delivered. It was delivered nicely. Okay, it was delivered nicely right there. Okay, so it was just less than entered at 8:20 and TP smashed at 10 o'clock. Okay, let's say about 2 hours thereabouts, and that's quite good trade. So we had a 5 RR here and a 6 RR in what's it called, in GBP USD London session. So that's a good 11 RR in one day. Okay, so if you're a trader that's risking 1% per trade, that is 11% on your account, depending on your account size, in just a single day. Okay, that's massive, right? That's massive. Okay, so this is all for our end of day market review. So hopefully we see you guys tomorrow, and do have a lovely night.